Americans love their crossover SUVs. However, for the well-affluent luxury buyer who wouldn't be caught dead in a crossover, a station wagon is the only vehicle that will suffice, and for years, Mercedes-Benz has offered the E-Class Wagon. Now, last year, the company gave the entire E-Class family a pretty substantial overhaul, including completely renaming the wagon, and as you can see this week, they've loaned me the latest E450 all-terrain. What the all-terrain means is you get an extra 2 inches of ground clearance from the standard airmatic suspension. You get body cladding to give it a more rugged look, and surprise, surprise, this vehicle actually comes standard with a 3rd row of seats, so you can actually fit up to 7 people in this station wagon. So if you guys are looking for a luxury family vehicle and you wouldn't be caught dead driving an SUV, how does the latest 2022 Mercedes E450 all-terrain stack up? Stay tuned to find out. So the previous generation of the E-Class Wagon was actually called the E400. This year, they switched it over to the E450 courtesy of a new engine. This engine you should be pretty familiar because it's the inline 6. That's right, Mercedes-Benz has switched back to an inline 6 for their mid-range vehicles. And just like some other SUVs and crossovers and cars in the Mercedes-Benz family, this is a really good engine. It's the company's 3-liter turbocharged inline 6 with a 48-volt mild hybrid system. Now, what this engine does lack compared to a comparable E53 is the electric supercharger. So this is just a turbocharged engine with a mild hybrid system. It makes the same horsepower as last year's 3-liter twin-turbo V6, 362 horsepower and 369 pound-feet of torque. The electric motor adds an extra 21 horsepower but not combined, so you can't combine the two powertrains together. What it essentially does is it allows for very smooth start-stop operation because remember, this is a mild hybrid system. It all goes out through a 9-speed automatic transmission. That's a Mercedes-designed transmission with a torque converter, and 4MATIC all-wheel drive is going to be standard. Now, fuel economy has also been improved by 2 mpg compared to the old V6. This is rated at 21 in the city, 28 on the highway. Premium gas, of course, is required. It's got around a 21-gallon gas tank, and Mercedes-Benz says this will get to 60 in roughly 5.3 seconds. I couldn't find any information on towing, so I'm not entirely sure that towing is recommended, but let me know in the comments below if you guys know if this vehicle can tow. And as this vehicle sits, it weighs in at just under 4,600 pounds. But let me shut the hood and show you guys the styling changes because the E-Class got a pretty significant overhaul back in 2021, and that's carried over, of course, onto the all-terrain. You can see the front fascia on the all-terrain is certainly more unique. You have more of a rugged kind of metallic look for the Mercedes-Benz grille. You can also get a night package that'll black that out. The headlights you can see have also been significantly updated, where you have full LED headlights as standard with LED daytime running lights and turn signals, LED low and high beams. My tester is missing the optional full adaptive LED headlights, which would kind of change the way this looks. You can see at the front fascia there is some fake vents as well. With some functional ones, there's more chrome, which you can black out. And then you can see some of the cladding on the front gives this a more rugged look compared to the old model. Now, looking at the rest of the side profile, you can see my polar white exterior on my tester with the black cladding, the plastic cladding, certainly is a little bit polarizing for some. Sadly, you can't actually get the wagon in all painted form like you could previously, and the Audi A6 Allroad, the main competitor for this vehicle, does give you a full body finish if you guys don't like the cladding. What you do get, of course, with the cladding, besides a more rugged look, which I don't personally mind, is you get the standard airmatic air suspension. So this vehicle also has 2 inches more ground clearance for a total of 5.7 when the vehicle is in its normal mode like so. My tester has these 19-inch wheels. These are the standard wheels. And then Mercedes has so kindly fitted Pirelli P0 or Pirelli Soto Zero winter tires, which it's about 32 degrees outside, so I really appreciate. You can go up to a 20-inch wheel, but I recommend staying with the 19s to keep the ride quality good because these are riding on 245/45 series tires. And if you plan to actually take your E-Class all-terrain off the pavement, you're going to want the bigger wheels and tires. Now, there is an off-road package that will raise this wagon a couple inches, I believe. I couldn't find the actual ground clearance, but that only works at speeds up to 22 miles an hour, so keep that in mind. You're going to be primarily keeping this on the road or on gravel roads like this. The wagon just looks really good for me from this angle. It's around 195.8 inches long. It shares the same 115.7-inch wheelbase as the E-Class sedan, but it's a smidge longer than the E-Class sedan. And I just love this kind of long roof design of this thing. And you can see here, the side mirrors have an integrated turn signal. You have these nice integrated aluminum roof rails with the pano roof. That pano roof is $1,000 extra. I am a little bit sad to see that the windows aren't tinted from the factory. You're gonna be having to add that, of course, if you purchase this vehicle. And then looking at the rear, you can see very classic wagon look. I love the taillights with the full LED design. There's the E450 badge with the 4MATIC badge. And then you can see more cladding on the rear with that dual chrome exhaust tip, which is integrated into the bumper. Overall, let me know what you guys think of the design. I actually think it looks good. I don't mind the cladding, but for those of you who prefer a full body paint finish, you may want to consider looking at the Audi A6 Allroad. Now, opening up the cargo area, you can see the E-Class gives you the most space in the segment, and this is a damn practical vehicle. With the seats up, you get around 34 cubic feet of space. This is pretty comparable to a lot of compact to mid-size SUVs. If you want to fold down the seats, you can actually do that from this little button over here. This will expand it to 64 cubic feet of space. That's roughly 5 cubic feet more than what you're going to get from its competition. You can see this is so nicely finished. I love the aluminum skid plate here, the kick plate over here as well, and then there's also some underfloor storage over here, which is nice. Now you guys are probably wondering, where the heck is the third row? Because there's the second row. Well, this is really cool because this reminds me of a vehicle from a long time ago, from like the 80s. You can see, fold this up right here, and then you flip this over, and there you go. There's the third row. It's a rear-facing third row. Now, obviously, I said this vehicle can seat 7, but you're only going to want to put small children back here, and be careful if they get car sick back here because you're going to be facing the other direction. But you have to admit, this is pretty cool that you have this, and it's standard equipment. No other wagon in this segment offers this 7-passenger capacity, and I think that's just probably the most nostalgic and cool feature about this wagon. So now that we've talked about the exterior of the E-Class wagon, let's go ahead and show you guys the interior. Here's the key fob for the vehicle. You can see this is the current Mercedes-Benz key fob. It doesn't actually include remote start on the fob, but you probably can use the Mercedes Me app to actually access the remote start. Since this is a press car, I can't actually show you that, but as you approach the vehicle, let's open the door. You can see the white exterior of my tester is complemented by this very nice looking brown interior. This is not the full upgraded brown leather interior. This is real leather, but you can see on the door panels and on the dashboard, this doesn't have the full leather stitching or the MB Tech stitching that you can get for like an extra $1,500 if you get the full leather interior option. But you can see the white with the brown is certainly a classy combination. I also like the door panel. You can see with that nice gray matte finish wood. You have a soft touch injection molded plastic. You have the upgraded Burmester sound system in this car, which sounds great with the metal speaker covers. And then you have these metal accented window controls, which just have a high quality tactile feel. It's even soft touch down here on the lower portion of the door panel. Now, getting inside this vehicle, the one thing, if you guys are looking for a higher step-in position, you're not going to find that here. You have a pretty low feeling step-in height. Even though this vehicle has 2 inches more ground clearance than the old wagon, it's still only just under 6 inches, so it's not a lot. Now, getting here and shutting the door, you can see the door has a very solid sounding thunk. For an extra $550, you can also option in a soft closed door option, which is an a la carte option to start the vehicle up. The button is right here where you'd expect it to be, although the steering wheel kind of blocks it a little bit, or the drive selector kind of blocks it. But pushing the button here, you can see the vehicle kind of whirs to life because remember, this is a mild hybrid, so it's not going to have a traditional starter noise, which is different, of course, from the previous generation, which had a twin turbo V6. Now, getting inside and just looking at this cabin, it's very similar, of course, to the sedan. It's practically the same. You have the same 4 dash vent design here with the 2 circular vents on the driver and on the passenger side. This hood right here is a soft touch injection molded plastic, as the area over here where the airbag cover is. You can also add for like an extra $1,000 the MB Tech stitching here on the dash, which would really up the luxury feel in this car. The new steering wheel is also included. Mercedes got rid of some of the buttons over here and they added some touch sensitive pads, which don't really work all that well sometimes. You also have, of course, their Mercedes Me assistant, the personal assistant. So if you say that keyword, which is, "Hey, Mercedes," it'll actually ask you what you need. Although right now it didn't work, earlier it did. Now the steering wheel itself is power, tilt, and telescoping. My tester also has a heated wheel that you'll find on the switch back here. For an extra $1,000, the heated wheel should just be standard. I also have 3 level heated seats, but you can see I'm missing ventilated seats. I'm missing massaging seats. You have power adjustments over here on the door panel, which I believe this is like 18 different ways. There's 3-person memory on both sides because my tester has the premium package. But for the amount of money that this car is, the fact that it doesn't have ventilated seats, it's an a la carte option for $450 is just an insult to me. This gauge display over here, you can see there's two 12-inch displays. There's what the Apple CarPlay looks like. It is a wired connection CarPlay, and it doesn't take up the entire screen here. So this is the older system. I just tested the new S-Class, and that has the larger display with wireless CarPlay and over-the-air updates. So that's something to keep in mind. This is a touchscreen, of course, where you can kind of adjust this to whatever way you'd like. You can also put the GPS here or here. You can see there's the Mercedes GPS. My tester is missing the augmented reality for like an extra $1,000, but you can see that works really well. It's fairly easy to use, and the graphics still look nice. Just doesn't look quite as good as the newer system in the S-Class. Now put the vehicle in reverse, you can see there's your full top-down 360 camera that gets with the premium package that my tester has. It also has an automatic parallel parking feature. This is a really good camera system. You can see you can also change the view there. You can also show exactly what's behind you, what's beside you. And then you can also have it find a parking space for you as well, which is pretty nice. This is pretty much what I expected for the class, and I think it really makes the interior feel really special. What also makes it feel special is the ambient lighting. You can see this has the older system, but there's like a glowing light underneath here on the actual door panels and the footwell. It looks beautiful at night. Just like a lot of other Mercedes-Benz products. So that's something to, again, keep in mind. There's a lot of detail finishes. Now I like the gray ash matte finish wood here, which looks real. It smells real. It looks and feels expensive. You open this up, you can see there's your USB cable there. It's a USB-A. There's a wireless phone charging pad, cup holders over here. You can also have a few shortcut buttons here if you want to get to quick access to some of your driver assistance functions. You can also change your vehicle settings here. That looks really great, the graphics and whatnot. So that's something to, again, keep in mind with a lot of Benz products. This also allows you to control the screen here. You can control it from here, the touch screen, or you can also use the touchpad on the steering wheel, or you can also use the Mercedes Me commands. A few more buttons over here for your air suspension, where you can actually raise and lower the vehicle's air suspension. You can change out the drive mode here by switching this little toggle. You can see there's two off-road settings in this vehicle. Go into off-road 2, it'll raise the vehicle up slightly, but it'll limit you to only 22 miles an hour. So that's really only when you're in off-road conditions where you need to clear an obstacle. But remember, there's no skid plates underneath here, so you're gonna be still limited on how far off the pavement you can actually go. Open this up, you can see there's a pretty good center console, two USB-A storage ports. The seats are pretty comfortable and supportive. You can adjust the thigh extender over here and some of the bolstering. The headrest also is power, which is nice. Over here on the glove compartment, you can see it's damped and it's pretty deep. It's not a bin style, but it's very, very usable. And then above me, you can see there's LED lighting. And then for $1,000 extra, my tester also has a panoramic sunroof, although there is a partition here, so it's not a full glass feel. But overall, it feels just as nice as the last E-Class. You have a very nice view of the road. It gives you a slightly higher seating position, and it gives you all the usual luxury touches you want, but just be prepared to pay extra, of course, for some of the features like ventilated seats, massaging seats, and a heads-up display. That's all an a la carte option. Taking a look at the back seat of the E-Class Wagon, you can see just like the sedan, you do have a pretty good amount of space. In fact, Mercedes-Benz says you get around 36.5 inches of legroom back here, which 36.5 is about the same as what you'll find in something like a Honda Civic. But once I get back here, you can see I'm 5'7". It feels more spacious than the numbers would suggest. Let me go ahead and shut the door. In terms of the materials, you can see it's the same soft touch injection molded plastic, same wood, same metal speaker covers for the Burmester stereo, which sounds good. You can see some of the ambient lighting back here. It really looks great. And then you can see once I get back here, the floor is nice and low. You have a fairly large hump here because remember, this is a rear drive vehicle by nature. So it does have that drive center hump. Drive tunnel hump. You can see nice storage pockets over here, rear seat air vents. No heated rear seats on my tester because it's missing that. It also is missing the tri-zone climate control for like an extra $750. Open this up, you can see there's USB ports actually there and a power outlet, but no heated back seats. Would have liked to see that. And then you can see, fold this down, you have an armrest here with two cup holders and a little bit more storage. So for two people back here, two adults, you can certainly get pretty comfortable. You can easily fit a child seat back here. And then, like I said earlier, there is a third row that folds out from there, but it is going to be reserved for children. And then above me, you can see the view out of the back. This portion does not open. There's that partition here, but you can see this is a very practical vehicle, and it's pretty comparable to a lot of the compact crossovers and mid-size crossovers that you'll find in the segment. So shockingly, even though I've been doing this for almost 10 years, I actually haven't had a chance to drive an E-Class wagon for the channel. So when Mercedes finally dropped off this E450 all-terrain, I was super excited because what this wagon is essentially is when you guys are looking to replace a Subaru Outback, you go to something like this. You go to something like the Audi A6 Allroad or the Volvo V90 Cross Country. Mercedes made some pretty extensive updates, like I said earlier, to this. They even renamed it the All-Terrain. Before, they didn't have all this cladding. They gave it more ground clearance. And we also have a new powertrain. It's that 3-liter turbocharged inline-6 with the 48-volt mild hybrid system. And of course, 4MATIC all-wheel drive is standard. This wagon makes 362 horsepower. So let's go ahead and see what she can do 0 to 60. Mercedes actually says 5.3 seconds. Sounds really good. Wow, and I just got 0 to 60 in 4.9 seconds, 4.89 seconds. So typical Germans, it is conservative. And I wasn't expecting this wagon to be a sub 5-second vehicle. That is shocking. Very shocking how fast it is, and it also sounds good. I mean, yes, the engine makes the same power as the old 3-liter twin-turbo V6. Now it's an inline-6 with that mild hybrid system, but it is such a gem of an engine. I just drove this engine in the new Mercedes-Benz S-Class, the S500, and I was very impressed with the S-Class. In this E450, it's a little bit lighter, it's a little bit smaller, so it's a little bit quicker, which doesn't surprise me at all. But I want to try it one more time because I want to see if I can consistently get that same time. And we'll brake torque it again. Feels really good. Really quick shifts from the 9-speed auto, 5.11 seconds. So 5-second car 0 to 60, it is 0.3 seconds faster than Mercedes' claim of 5.3 seconds. So very, very impressive vehicle. I love the performance of this vehicle. And out on the road here, let's go ahead and drive this vehicle because this is where most people are going to be driving it on the road, even though Mercedes calls it an all-terrain model. This drives like an E-Class sedan. I mean, it feels planted, it feels secure. In Sport Plus right now, the dampers go into a firmer setting. It kind of lowers the air suspension a little bit. But you know what? It feels like just a slightly longer bodied E-Class, but you have that lower center of gravity that I like in a sedan. So it doesn't give you that SUV ride height, which I'm okay with. But put your foot down here, the 9-speed is so responsive, it's so smooth, there's so much effortless power, and you've got that sweet sounding straight 6 that's just so smooth. This is at the pinnacle of internal combustion engines right now, and even though this engine lacks the electric supercharger that the E53 has, it still has plenty of power. I was not expecting a sub 5-second 0 to 60 run. Visibility is also excellent out of this vehicle. The view out of the back is good, the view out of the front is good. I like the new power bulge hood that you get with the refresh model to remind you that you have the new inline 6-cylinder engine. And the steering is also responsive. It's light. It turns very quickly. The vehicle changes directions really well. But I just love how it still feels like a car. I mean, even though they raised this up about 2 inches compared to the old E-Class wagon. Put your foot down here. You can feel the back actually. Oh my God, you can feel the back step out a little bit, but it's 4MATIC all-wheel drive. It is so good. I was not expecting to like the way this drives this much. I mean, yes, I've always wanted to drive an E63 AMG wagon, but this gets pretty darn close, and it's the same kind of like or love that I have for this vehicle that I felt with the Audi A6 Allroad. The A6 Allroad is a direct competitor to this vehicle. And then, of course, you can compare it to the V90 Cross Country. But I think the Volvo I'd probably skip because it only comes with a 4-cylinder that's turbo and supercharged. This 6-cylinder is probably my favorite. I like this engine more than I liked the V6 and the Audi A6 Allroad. It's just a really nice combination here. Oh, so much power and torque. This is like the perfect family vehicle. I can see exactly why the Mercedes-Benz clientele, their richest clients are actually this model here. Every wealthy Mercedes-Benz owner tends to buy one of these and use it as their family car. And it's pretty easy to see why, because it gives you the practicality of an SUV with even that third row seating, which is included on this model. That really shocked me when I saw that. You get great handling in Sport Plus mode or any other mode. You get a good ride quality as well. My tester has the, let me go back to comfort here. My tester has the 19-inch wheels on Pirelli winter Soto Zero tires, and I'm really glad that Mercedes delivered it with that because, as you can see, it's 32 degrees outside. We're expecting snow. And the ride quality is just so comfortable. My tester also has the acoustic comfort package, so it has thicker insulated glass, and it's so quiet in here. It's eerily quiet. It's luxury car quiet. It's what you expect from something that wears the 3-pointed star badge. And this gets pretty darn close to feeling like I'm driving like an S-Class wagon. Obviously, we don't have an S-Class wagon, but I like this car more driving it versus the GLE. You know, a GLE is basically the same price as this vehicle. Give or take, actually, this is a little bit more expensive, but it's just so much more unique. It's so much more fun to drive. It has similar practicality. And I love the fact that it's a wagon. I mean, granted, wagon is a dirty word in America, which is why Mercedes calls this an all-terrain, but nevertheless, in terms of fuel economy, this is also going to do better than a comparable SUV. 2128 is the MPG rating. In my week's worth of testing, I've been averaging right around 25 MPG. That is an MPG better versus what the EPA says combined. On the highway, this did better than 28. This did about 32 MPG, which is shocking to me. With the gas tank around 21 gallons, you're looking at a 500-mile fill-up in this vehicle. So it's comfortable, it's smooth, it's refined, it's got long cruising range, it's luxurious feeling. This is the perfect luxury wagon, and if you're seriously, you know, if you're looking to upgrade from something like the Subaru Outback, that's the best-selling wagon in America, this is it, and the Audi A6 Allroad. These are my two favorites. I think I might like the Mercedes a little more. Just keep in mind, this is an expensive vehicle. My tester is very light on the options. In fact, the one that I built that I would personally buy on my own is almost $90,000, which is just ridiculous. However, it stands out, it's different, and that's exactly why the all-terrain continues to be a very enticing proposition for enthusiasts who need practicality and who can afford something like this. So after spending a week with the brand new Mercedes-Benz E450 all-terrain, just like the completely revised sedan, there are plenty of reasons to like the wagon even more because it's got that new interior, it's got the revised styling, it's got that new powertrain, and it's just so ridiculously practical. In fact, after spending some time with this vehicle, it is now my favorite body style of the current generation E-Class, and for obviously good reasons. The 450 model has just the right amount of power for the average luxury buyer, or not even the average luxury buyer. It has way more power than what I expected. I wasn't expecting this vehicle to get to 60 in under 5 seconds. I wasn't expecting it to ride as smoothly as it does, to have a very comfortable, practical interior with most of the latest tech features. Although, after spending some time with the new Mercedes-Benz S-Class, you do notice that the E-Class's infotainment system is starting to fall behind because it doesn't have wireless Apple CarPlay. And I also like the newer look of the newer Mercedes-Benz cabin. I personally think that this model here is a little bit light on the options. I was expecting to find more features like ventilated seats. I would have also liked to see the massaging seats, the soft closing doors, the heads-up display. That, of course, is all going to cost you extra for this vehicle. And obviously, if you guys are actually looking to go off-roading, Mercedes will happily sell you a G-Wagon, which is going to easily be double the price of this. But also keep in mind that most people just want a comfortable family vehicle that has decent room in the back seat, good cargo room, and all the third row. Obviously, it's just going to be reserved for kids. The fact that it even offers it is just pure nostalgia for me and most buyers out there. And really, if you guys are looking to buy a luxury station wagon to get out of something like a Subaru Outback, or even check out something like the Volvo V90 and the Audi A6 Allroad, this is now my favorite because it offers the most interior space and it just has a really well-rounded package that's wrapped in a handsome-looking design. Now, speaking of which, if you guys are looking to purchase the all-terrain model, this is going to cost you a pretty penny because you could buy a regular E-Class sedan, and those are like $55,000 to start. The wagon starts at $68,400. That actually makes it about $2,000 more expensive versus an E450 4MATIC sedans. So the sedan model is actually going to be less expensive. This is also right around the same price as the two-door E450, which is surprising to me. Between the two-door and the wagon, I'd easily go for this because it's the more practical option. If you're also looking at a Mercedes-Benz GLE 450, this is going to cost you a couple grand more for the wagon, and that's kind of what you expect to pay in the segment. Mercedes always tells us that their most affluent wealthy buyer actually buys one of these, and it's pretty easy to see why. My tester is pretty light on the options. It stickers for around $76,000. I built one that has all of the options that I think a luxury wagon like this should have, and it was right around $90,000. So $90,000 for a non-AMG wagon sounds pretty expensive, but keep in mind the actual AMG version of this car is well into the $130,000 range. So if you have the money, this is a cool vehicle. You don't necessarily need to buy the AMG model. I was pleasantly surprised with how quick this model is. It has the handling dynamics of the car. It gives you the seating position of a car, but it gives you the practicality in terms of rear seat space and cargo space of an SUV, and that's really the appeal of the E450 all-terrain. With all that said, I hope you guys have enjoyed my full overview on the brand new 2022 Mercedes-Benz E450 all-terrain. If you're also looking to see the latest cars I'm testing, be sure to follow me on Instagram at Redline_reviews, like us on Facebook, and as always, guys, please keep subscribing to the Redline Reviews YouTube channel for all the latest reviews. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you all in the next video.